1 week from championship race at Homestead, Miami, it's the Anarchy Motorsports Cup Series from Phoenix International Speedway. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. How you doing tonight, Jacob?
Doing really well. Looking forward to this race. It should be a great one. It's always fun to race at or to watch a race at Phoenix. Not really to race it sometimes. It is a difficult track for sure. Of course, well, we'll see what these drivers are capable of.
Yeah, that is for sure. And what do you expect to see here tonight?
Well, I expect to see some close racing for sure. Some back and forth action. I think we might see an early caution for sure, but then I think these drivers will really be able to figure it out and go from there and probably have a long green flag run and maybe some green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and probably the biggest development out of Texas last week, we take a look at those points. It is Glenn Murphy Jr. regaining the points lead. Now, Glenn Murphy Jr., he doesn't have it by much, but he has it by 7 points over Joshua Thaxton, and that might just be all he needs to walk into Homestead with the championship lead. Josh Thaxton has to finish at least 7 places ahead of Glenn Murphy Jr. here tonight.
Yeah, and let's remember, Glenn Murphy Jr. also has to, well, A, finish the race, and B, finish the race in a good position, too. Yes, of course, 7 either right behind him or even technically 7 positions behind Thaxton wouldn't look that bad, just due to the fact of, well, it is Homestead, and we've seen the way that Glenn Murphy Jr. has been able to run those mile-and-a-half tracks, and, I mean, he was good at Texas for a reason.
Yeah, and Glenn Murphy Jr. phenomenal at Texas. Thaxton came up just a little bit short. The question is, can he close that deficit? Can he regain it at Phoenix tonight? We're going to watch these other drivers and see if they can be a roadblock for him. Drivers like Josh Abney, who are in the chase, they don't really have a chance at the championship anymore. They're too far out of the points and too many races, or not enough races to go, but maybe they'll have something to say for the race win. Look at Randy Arms, new provisional pole sitter. Josh Abney back there in 4th now. Matt Hoyle runs 5th. And as soon as we see that 18 take the track, we'll get our cameras on him because, I mean, we got to see how he does. That's going to be the big one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Looking at even the qualifying standings so far, yeah, Randy Arms still at provisional pole with a 25. Actually, he just got knocked off by Jonathan Schwartz.
25.060 for Jonathan Schwartz. Really fast time there.
It's pretty cool. Someone that I also got to talk to last night who was in my NIS race happened to be none other than Josh Abney.
Yeah, Abney's
Josh Susie, actually.
Well, how about that? I just put the camera on Josh Susie. I could read your mind. Knew you were going to talk about him.
Yeah, we're good friends. He's a Texan, I'm a Texan, so.
And he's a really great sim racer.
Exactly.
Very fast driver. We know that.
And was practicing last night and was up close to the point on a consistent basis throughout last night too, so he was getting those laps in. I know he said he practiced earlier this weekend too.
How about that? Pole position 24.993, fastest time of the evening. Josh Thaxton now on the track, rolling off a pit lane. Let's watch this 18 Ford Fusion. This is going to be the man to watch all night. He is racing for a championship. Now, when we started this season, all the way back in February, did you think we'd be talking about the 18 for the championship? I'm going to be honest, I didn't think so. I thought if anyone was going to challenge Glenn Murphy Jr., it was going to be that number 8 of Randy Arms or the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. But those drivers are 4th and 5th in the points standings respectively. That 18 seemingly came out of nowhere. But, man, is he here, and is he ever trying to make a statement?
Yeah, exactly. We talk about this 18 car. We really didn't start to talk about Thaxton until kind of in the middle of the season.
Yeah, is when he really started to turn up the heat, and 7th on the point, And that looks like where he'll land. Not enough time to get his second lap in. So 7th will have to do for Josh Thaxton.
Congrats on the pole, Sissy.
We'll roll through that starting lineup in just a second. But how about that for Josh Thaxton? Great run in 7th. But Glenn Murphy Jr., I think starting a little bit higher than him. But Josh Susie, Jonathan Schwartz, your pole sitters, Randy Arms, Dalton Baldwin. There's a name we haven't seen in a while. He's been real busy on Monday nights. But great to see him around every once in a while. He's always a top-tier driver, and it'll be interesting to see what he does from row 2. Glenn Murphy Jr. and Tyler Meeks, Josh Thaxton, Clay Dildine, Scott Sanderson, Josh Abney, Jamison Miller, Matt Hoyle, Michael Tant, Chris Ostrander, Kevin Chazinski, Hank Allen, Andrew Fesden, Joe Green, Clinton Collins, rounding out your field. 10 rows deep. What do you expect from the opening laps here at Phoenix?
Well, I mean, like I said, early caution for sure, but then these drivers will really get going, and we'll see some fantastic, I think, close racing. Yes, we saw in the actual race yesterday that, well, the leader kind of, once he was in the lead, he was just able to really take off. And that might be a thing that we'll see is in how difficult it is to pass here, and when a wreck happens, how difficult it is to really miss the wreck, especially if it happens on the exit of turn 4 or entrance of turn 3, somewhere around that area where it's a lot narrower. So that's going to be something that we'll have to watch out for, especially for the win in early caution, if an early caution does happen.
Yeah, I kind of expect to see one. It's a short track. It's the nature of the beast. I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least one caution within maybe the first 30 laps of this race.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, you said someone that really has caught my eye as well, and not expecting him to race in this one, and that's Dalton Baldwin. And we talk about, the times that he's been in the series racing. We all know that he is busy on Monday nights, but when he does get a chance to race, well, he gives everyone a run for their money. You talk about someone who can wipe off the rust.
Yeah, go back to
that's
year.
him, and he can wipe it off in like 10 or 15 laps basically, and fight for the lead of this race. So that's someone that Glenn Murphy Jr. is going to maybe have some problems with. And the same thing with Josh Thaxton. Now, you talk about a curveball. I think that one is.
There we go. We're racing, and a great start by Josh Susie. Out and away down towards turns 1 and 2. Jonathan Schwartz, Dalton Baldwin, Randy Arms. Man, it's like we're watching a race from 2018. These top 4 drivers. Now the question is, does the top 4 stay about the same all night? That's going to be my question.
Yeah, they might, for sure. I mean, top 4 drivers are looking really excellent so far, and, well, we always expect to see those top 4 up there. Yes, Dalton Baldwin, we talked about him. He's not necessarily with us week in and week out, but, I mean, he's just, wow, it's really close racing.
Yeah, it looks like 16 drivers right now. Kevin Trzynski, Joe Green, and Fesden all did not start here tonight. Josh Susie, though, still your race leader, and behind him, Jonathan Schwartz. Dalton Baldwin, third. Baldwin, we haven't seen him race in a while, but, man, it doesn't look like he's lost any speed with these guys. He's all over the back end of that 58 Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, it's looking good so far as well. All over the back bumper. I mean, basically you could put a blanket over the whole top 5 right now because of how close they are. But just Dalton Baldwin not able to make anything work yet.
You can't put that blanket over Josh Susie. He's pulling away to the tune of about almost half a second. That 81 machine is fast and is continuing to get faster. It looks like Clean Air is going to be the big beneficiary tonight, as he's really starting to try and put something away on Jonathan Schwartz. Though, of course, as I say that, Jonathan Schwartz starting to pick up the slack.
Yeah, exactly. And one other thing is, how much do you want to push in these early stages? Yes, of course, we will most likely see an early caution, but the well, it's Phoenix, and what I'm trying to say here is you're gonna slow down in turns 3 and 4, and how much do you want to push the pedal at the exit, because you don't want to spin your tires too much and get the car sideways, because then later on in a run, just in case we have a green flag pit stop, well, your tires are just gonna feel worse and worse.
Yeah, that is for sure, without a doubt. We're almost 10 laps into this opening run. And remember, 150 laps of the distance tonight, so it's a bit of a long one. So these guys, they've got to be able to conserve these race cars. They don't want to push them too much, like you said. But one driver that might want to be in the business of pushing his race car, if he wants a shot at this championship, that's the 18 car. He rides 6, not nearly enough to start gaining points on Glenn Murphy Jr.
And not nearly enough indeed, but you look at the gap from him and Randy Arms, it's not that much. He's about a tenth, just about a tenth off from Randy Arms. And so, of course, it's in the early stages, just like you said. So if he's not necessarily pushing too much, as long as he can really keep it together with the top 5, well, then he will be put in a great position for all that. Talking about also this thing, he's been the master of really strategy. Throughout this season, he's been able to pull curveballs and pit a bit early. It has been his key, and he's been able to end up winning.
Yeah, that's for sure, but speed is definitely a factor here. You need to have a fast car, and right now he's pretty decent, but it doesn't look like he's fast enough.
Now, of course, as we get later on into this race, track temperatures will change. It'll probably get a bit cooler as we head into more of the evening, and especially how well will we have cautions in this early going? How many cautions will we have throughout this race? And if we have multiple and it's kind of a bit of a caution fest, well, then the racing will just get later and later into the day, and the track temperatures will cool off. And who knows, cars that might have been faster in the heat of the day might not be as fast when it gets cooler. Now, of course, yes, they are running fixed setups, but you think about it, some drivers like a bit of a slick track, and some drivers really are fast when it is more grippier.
Yeah, a lot of it does come down to driving style and preference of the racetrack, as you mentioned, and changing weather, changing track conditions. That all comes into play for how these guys are able to do. And we've seen it this season, Jacob. We've seen drivers that are really, really fast in the opening stage of this race. They slack off a little bit at the end. And that's not because they're bad drivers. That's just a matter of the fact the track changed, and it did not change in their favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Baxton looks like he's going for it on Glenn Murphy now.
Yeah, he is right under that bumper. He was going to pull a move for a second there, but decided better of it. And now, of course, has a bit of a gap.
Yeah, he tried to go for it for a second, like you said. Dean, thought a little bit better of it.
Now, one thing that is interesting, and it always is interesting when we come to this track, as I saw the 18 and the 48 kind of use the apron. Of course, that's the way that you want to really race this racetrack, but the question is, how much of the dog leg do you want to use? Do you want to cut? Because sometimes even just taking a bit off the dog leg is better than taking a huge chunk out of it, as we see. That's the way that Dalton Baldwin's kind of driving it. He's barely cutting the dog leg, as everyone else is really just trying their hardest to go as low as possible.
Yeah, that is for sure. Look at Hank Allen back of the field getting by Jamison Miller. This is for 11th spot. Now that 3 car, he's won 1 race this season. Do you think we see him win a second one?
It's possible, but of course, just like you said, he is in 11th place. It is early, but he'll have to kind of start pushing if he wants anything to do with, of course, the leaders. We can probably see him maybe win this race, but we have seen him a little better at the mile and a half. Yes, he's really good at plate tracks, as he's already proved that, especially at Daytona. But like you said, yeah, the question is, can he perform at the last two tracks? And I think he can.
Yeah, non-plate track, get one more win under his belt before the start of 2020, and get that win at a non-restrictor plate track, which would be his first non-restrictor plate win in these Cup cars for AMS. Those 2 wins in his career at this league have came at both, at Daytona and in the same race. Now, he has won that race 2 years in a row, so going into next year, I'd say he's the favorite to win that one again. But the question is, can he win somewhere else?
Exactly. It reminds me of the way that he performs at Daytona reminds me a lot of how Kevin Harvick in the early stages of the playoff format was able to just perform really well at the end of the chase at Phoenix, where we're at right now. And after a while, of course, it kind of died off. He didn't make the Final Four 1 year, but was able to win at Texas after that. And so Texas has become kind of Kevin Harvick's dominant track. So maybe that's something that we might see in the future.
One car exiting pit lane. That's that's the 2 car. Kevin Trzynski, 20 laps down, but he does elect to come out on track. So I'm wondering what happened with him where he couldn't make the grid.
Well, there's a lot of factors that could happen. He had to be stuck at work later, or internet issues, or something like that. And of course, it really does stink because he's a driver that, well, we've also seen really grow this season.
Yeah,
he's one driver that has been fantastic.
We've seen him come very close to winning. He hasn't yet won, but he's definitely come close. And I got to say, I think next year we'll see that 2 car probably hit victory lane.
I 100% agree. Who knows? It could be at Daytona, and especially a track that we want to highlight for next year is, well, Atlanta, because that's always a tough, grueling racetrack, and Kevin Trzynski can be up for the challenge.
Atlanta is just a fun racetrack. You know, it's crazy to me. Is it just me, Jacob, or does it feel like the season just started? I can't believe we're already talking about next year, 2020. What do we expect from these guys in a year's time? Because it does not feel like a whole season has gone by.
It's not just you. It feels like that as well. I mean, talking about that sort of thing, the one thing that was kind of bittersweet this weekend also on live TV was they had the IMSA Michelin Encore race, which means, well, that's the end of the IMSA season, which kind of put a tear to my face. So it's the same deal. It's like, wow, that feels like the Rolex 24 was just there too, and the Daytona 500 was just a couple of weeks away.
Now, I'm sure you talk to some of these drivers, depending on how their season's gone, they might not say it feels the same way. They might be happy to get this season over with and start looking to next season. But, man, I tell you, it has been such a fun year, and I'm just happy to have been with AMS for another year. I cannot wait for 2020, but we still got this race and another one next week to close out this season because, man, has it been fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, I haven't necessarily checked this, but are they going to do the full race or 200 laps?
Next week, I don't know. I'll tell you that right now.
That would be fun if they did do the full 400. It's going to be 125?
125 laps, 188 miles. Yes, sir.
Oh, not too bad.
So that should be a pretty fun one. Watching Josh Abney battle Clay Dildine. Now, Clay Dildine, there's a driver I'm really surprised we didn't see go to victory lane this season yet. Of course, he has one more week and, well, 2 races tonight and next week to do it. But, man, that 24 car has been so dominant these few years. We've watched him and such a fast driver. I'm really surprised we haven't seen him go to victory lane this year. And I think that might come down to the package. We know Glenn Murphy Jr., despite being as dominant as he is, really not a fan of it, and Clay Dildine being his teammate probably shares the same sentiments.
Yeah, I can name you 3 drivers. You just named 2. But it would be Glenn Murphy Jr., Clay Dildine, and also, of course, the one and only number 3 car of Hank Allen. Well, you know his classic saying for this season was, package sucked. The car sucked.
Well, every time we talked to Glenn Murphy Jr. too, we had that same one. I remember at Texas last week where we had guest commentator Ronald Klein. We have guest commentator Ronald Klein again tonight. Hey, Ronald, how you doing?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Going wonderful. Thank you for joining us here tonight, my man. But anyway, we had Ron on last week. We'll have him on again. We have him on again tonight. But we were talking to Glenn Murphy Jr. last week. I forgot what it was, but it was either right at the end of the race, Ron, or you were interviewing him mid-race. And we asked him how the car's doing, or you asked him how the car's doing. And first thing he said, well, you know I hate this package. You know it sucks, but it's doing good for what it is, or something to that effect. So I don't think any of these drivers are a fan of this package.
I don't think so either. You know, in another league that we're in, we're not a real big, we're not big fans of this package either.
Yeah, you know, I'm in the minority here because I actually really like it. I like driving it. I don't really have a big problem with it. I think it's kind of fun. I was never too big a fan of that low downforce package. But ideally, though, I like the 2015 package. I thought was the best.
I think there's been some good packages out there. I think that this one here just kind of takes a little bit out of the driver's hands because the cars handle so well and there's not as much horsepower as there used to be. So it kind of, it's almost kind of like the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars have kind of swapped in terms of the driving of the cars.
Yeah, that's a fair statement there to make, actually. I wouldn't disagree with that. Also, look at Chris Ostrander losing ground to Jameson Miller. How about that one there, Jacob?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And just really Chris Ostrander trying to get the position back. He's all over his bumper. But what a fantastic pass. Is he going to try to make a move there? No, he's not. He's going to stay behind. But, I mean, that's kind of what's going to happen. You get by a person and you're kind of going to take off, and we kind of see it right now. The gap that, well, Jameson Miller is making from Chris Ostrander.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive to see. Miller's starting to pull away. Now, there's a driver that's really improved this year. He's came to life. And I'd love to see that 4-car go to victory lane. He's got a lot of really nice paint schemes. Maybe tonight at Phoenix, you know, for the longest time, Phoenix was Kevin Harvick's track. Maybe that number brings him a little bit of good luck. Jonathan Schwartz looks like he's falling back quite a bit. What? Oh, man, he's hard into the wall. What happened to that 58 car there? He's got a lot of damage there. You see that, Jacob?
Yeah, exactly. It's very strange. Still kind of even trying to find him. There he is. Yeah,
all the way back in 13th now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage in 13th position. Just not ideal for him, especially the way that this race was kind of going for him. But yeah, it's tough. Even with this downforce, just like I talked about, kind of, well, how much do you want to push, especially on the exits? You can still spin the car out, especially going on the exit of turn 4. So that's something that he might have done for sure, but well, it can still happen, and it's always not fun.
His back end, though, it's pushed in a little bit in the shape of a race car nose, so I'm imagining he might have had a little bit of help going around.
Yeah, exactly.
How about Dalton Baldwin, though, right there in second place behind Josh Susie, who has a almost 3-second lead. I want to point that out. That 81 car has led since the drop of the green. Man, is he doing amazing here tonight. That's great to see Susie doing so well. But yeah, he is doing absolutely awesome. Third in the championship standings. Average start of 9th. Average finish of 10th. 2 wins. Looking to pick up win 3. He has 2 poles, so he's got his 3rd pole. Can he get win number 3 of the season? That'll be the big question. 39 laps into this race. Well, guys, what do you expect to see as far as cautions go? I was kind of expecting to see one a little bit early on in this race, but we've so far gone almost, to 50 laps, almost till 100 to go without a yellow.
Yeah, now that these drivers are getting even more and more spread out as we're starting to see drivers head down pit lane, this sometimes is the time that we do see cautions happen. So that is a possibility that we could see one around here. But with the cars even getting more and more spread out, we could probably not end up seeing one until really, really late in this race.
Yeah, that a distinct possibility there. Ron, what's your bet?
I got to agree with the second half of his statement there. I believe with cars being spread out the way that they are, the likelihood of a caution coming out gets slightly less the more the cars get spread out.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on that one. I don't think we're going to see one happen unless someone really screws up on pit road entry or pit road entry, because pit road exit, you have such a wide apron, it really isn't any racing surface, so I don't really see a caution coming out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been watching the number 48 car from last week. I do remember that the number 48 and the 18 are definitely in a tight battle here for the win,
Yep,
for the championship it is. But that number 48 is coming to life. He has come from 3.8 seconds back. He is now right on the number 41 as he's ducking down onto the inside. Looks like 41's just going to hand it to him as he cuts the dog leg. They will should come out nearly side by side. 48 clearly out in front of the 41. Puts him up in the second spot. Be interesting to see now if the 48 will continue to close that gap between him and the 81 of Joshua Susi.
Yeah, it's a really big gap to close, 3.3 seconds, and gaining on that gap is Susie. He's widening it out. But Glenn Murphy Jr., if anyone's going to close that gap, it's going to be that 48 car. And, yeah, that points battle you mentioned between Murphy and Thaxton, the 18 car. 7 points difference. Glenn Murphy Jr. has the advantage coming in tonight. Now the question is, does he leave with that advantage? What do you think?
I think it's possible that he leaves with this advantage the way that the racing has been going on so far. Yes, Josh Thaxton now is kind of, well, he's closer. He's just a spot away from being behind Glenn Murphy Jr. once again. But, well, the way that this race has been going on, it could be a different story.
Dalton Baldwin hitting the pits. We'll keep an eye on his pit stop. And good point to mention there, Jacob. Now, here's the thing with Murphy. Even if Thaxton finishes second, he's not going to be close enough to, he's not going to have any chance of closing the points gap. He has to be at least 7 points ahead, 7 positions ahead, I should say, to just even think about tying it up. And 8 points ahead to really start picking off positions. So he's got a lot of ground to cover. And Josh Susie, your previous race leader for the first, 46 laps of this race, has hit the pits. That surrenders the lead to Glenn Murphy Jr. How long does he hold on to it now is going to be the question.
41 had a clean stop. Watching the number 81 come into his pit stall right now. He gets into his pit stall cleanly. Doesn't overshoot it. Looks like call's going to be for 4 tires more than likely.
Remember, bonus points for leading a lap. You don't get more bonus points the more laps you lead, but you do get one for if you lead a single lap. So Glenn Murphy Jr. will get at least 1 extra point where he finishes.
81 away clean. With the gap that I saw the 48 cutting, here he is coming down pit road. Yep. Let's watch Josh Thaxton. Thaxton stays out to get that 1 bonus point.
Yep, he was unable to get that last week. He'll get it this week, so that'll at least make them a little bit more even with the 48 team.
Watching the 48 come down, see if he gets into his pits clean.
Thaxton, I imagine, is going to pit real soon after this. I don't think, there's no big advantage in staying out multiple laps. You don't get multiple bonus points, as I touched on. And, yep, Thaxton down. Little bit hot in. He actually locked the tires up. Not that that's going to matter much since he is getting all 4 new ones, I would imagine. But just a little bit hot in. So he got the 1 bonus point, as does Randy Arms. Randy Arms picking up the point in that number 8 Castrol Edge machine. We've seen that car on track a lot here this season. I really like it. Though it looks more like coffee on the car than motor oil, but that's just my look at it. Maybe motor oil with some water in it, but I don't think you want water in your motor oil.
Yep. Exactly. That's probably a good point there, Matt. But now you have Randy Arms in the lead, and look who is second place, Josh Thaxton. So that's very exciting for Josh. Of course, he is moving down since he did pit, but just about in 4th position.
It'll cycle back around to Susie picking up the race lead again, I believe.
Yes.
Baldwin will be third, or second, rather.
For some reason, Thaxton did not have a great pit stop there. He lost quite a bit of time there.
Man, that's unfortunate there. If anyone needed a good pit stop here tonight, it would have been that 18 team. He actually lost 2 positions on that pit stop.
He lost, I don't know exactly how far he was behind before the pit stop, but he's now 5 seconds behind
He
Glenn
lost
Murphy
at least
Jr.
1 spot because he was right behind Glenn when he pitted, and now he's got Abney and Schwartz in the way. Scott Sanderson, I don't believe, is pitted yet.
I don't believe so either.
No,
I think he stayed out.
He has, so I don't know how he got
He
in the
probably
mix with
was
the
one of the
leaders.
first ones to pit then, I would say.
But yeah, Sanderson now in the mix with the race leaders. Good run by Scott getting up in there. I would not have expected to see that, you know?
Exactly. Very surprised at that as well. But of course, the cool thing is now, yes, he was probably one of the first ones down pit lane. But now, of course, running laps, having a chance to really fend off, of course, Glenn Murphy Jr. and the likes of Jonathan Schwartz, Josh Abney, and even Josh Thaxton. Those are great drivers, of course, in front or behind him, excuse me, but it's going to be interesting. I think he might have just gotten past now.
Yeah, he just got passed by Murphy.
48's coming like a freight train, guys.
Murphy wants this race win. He wants to finish as high as he can because the higher he finishes, the more points he puts on Abney, and the less of on Thaxton, and the less of a chance Thaxton has of winning a championship at Homestead.
Joshua Susie in the 81 out there running in that first place. He is distancing himself from the 41. It was just about 4/10 a couple laps ago. It's now to a second, but Glenn Murphy Jr. was at 3 seconds last time by, same as it was 2 laps prior. So the 48 running the same lap times as the 81 at this time. We'll see as the run goes on who is faster at the end of the run. I think last run it was the number 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. We'll see if it's the same this time.
Yeah, Dalton Baldwin doing really well in second, but Josh Susie, as you mentioned, 50 laps led now. Man, is he ever on a tear?
Oh, things are going to change. We just had a caution.
Caution flag in the air. It is Scott Sanderson. Got into it with Clinton Collins. So we'll get an instant replay of that. They were racing side by side. Sanderson came up into the 89. So we'll get an interview in with Glenn Murphy Jr. This is our first caution in the night. Just under 100 laps to go. And we'll let Jacob Young talk to Mr. Glenn Murphy Jr.
All right, Glenn Murphy, how you doing?
I got you. What's up?
So, you're out here, first caution of the day. How's the car feeling?
Car feels pretty good. A little tight, but we were finding some speed there at the end.
Exactly. I saw that you were able to really gain spots even after that, after your first pit stop. So, what's really your game plan for today? Of course, trying to gain as much points as possible, or what is it?
Well, you always want to win, but I just want to stay in front of Thaxton the best I can here. If I can come out of here ahead of him, that'll be pretty much a win for me. So we want to win. I got a little bit of damage on the right front here. I'm not going to fix yet, but we'll give him hell and see what happens.
All right, cool. So that damage isn't really affecting you?
No, not too bad. I mean, it's a little tight. I didn't hit it hard. I hit it square. I just, our incident I had with Schwartz last week, I felt bad, and I got on the outside of him there. I was trying to take care of him coming off of 4, and he kept coming up, and I didn't know if he was going to lift at all. And I got a little nervous, and then I squeezed out of the gas, and it just took off to the wall. So no harm, no foul. We'll see what we got to do here. Hopefully we can fix it at the very end and have a quick little shootout, but we'll see.
All right, cool. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me up, man. I'll talk to you soon.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Glenn Murphy Jr., driver of that number 48 machine. Be great to see what he does after this restart. Jamison Miller cycles around to be your race leader. So we'll actually get one quick word in with Jamison Miller here before you go back to green. Jamison Miller, if you got a copy of me, my man.
I do.
Man, how does it feel to be leading here at Phoenix now? You cycle around to be the race leader.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I'd rather it, doing it under green, taking the lead, but not there yet.
Yeah, you elect not to pit here. You think you'll be able to hold him off?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said you elect not to pit, but do you think you'll be able to hold them off, Josh Susie and everyone?
Definitely not.
All right, well, what is your plan here? Just try and hold on the lead for a little bit, or what's your strategy?
I'm not going to hold them up. I'll probably move out of the way. I just wanted to get my lap led.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us. One quick question. Where do you expect to finish here tonight?
Hopefully top 10 at least.
Yeah, you were looking pretty good earlier on. Really like watching you how you've improved this season. Hopefully we see you in victory lane, either at Homestead or in 2020. Thank you for talking to us, man.
Yep, hopefully. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jamison Miller, driver of that number 4 car. We'll let Ronald Klein get us with the green here. Miller leads him down, a little bit unconfident about his ability to hold into the race lead, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, he's got multiple laps on those tires. He knows that it's going to be a task going down into one. Let's hope that there's not a catastrophe down here in one.
But Miller's a good driver. I really don't think we're going to run into an issue like that. I would hope not to see that happen. I don't think we'll see that happen with him.
Copy that. As we get ready here, the pace car ducks down. Number 4 is getting ready to hit the loud pedal. And there it is. Green flag's out. 4 did not get a good start at all. The 81's going to go in almost side by side. 81 clears the number 4 by a
Great
mile.
start for the 84.
Yep. 81. And
Miller's going to
the
dump
48
down to the
right
bottom.
behind him. So the 48, the 4 is going to go down to the bottom, staying out of everyone's way. Don't think he really maybe thought that one through.
Well, he even said he didn't really intend to hold into the lead. So he
That
lost
was almost
a lot
dangerous,
of ground.
though. That
Yeah,
gets
well,
a little
yeah.
bit scary.
Well, how about this? Glenn Murphy Jr. now second. He's got his best chance to lead this race that he's had all night.
And here's also something else. I watched the pit stop. The 81 took 2 tires. That could upset the balance of the car. So the 48 may end up being faster, not only on the short run, but on the long run as well.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see how that develops throughout the run. Daxon pulling into 4th now, it looks like.
And the big thing that we've really touched on tonight is, well, it has been how clean air has affected these cars. Clean air has affected these cars, of course, well, if you're in the lead, if you have a bit of a gap from the person behind you and have clean air in front of you, then you should be able to pull away. Now, of course, just like he mentioned, well, 2 tires is going to really hold you up as they almost go side by side, so this is going to be very exciting now.
Yeah, Josh Susie, your current race leader, and look at Schwartz, Thaxton, Abney, Baldwin, Allen, Hank Allen moving his way through the field. How about that?
Yeah, Hank Allen in a fantastic position, top 10 at the moment, of course, just in 7th position, I believe, and look who he's got to fight, none other than Dalton Baldwin, so that should be a really close classic battle.
And look at it, as Ron mentioned, battle for the lead now. 2 tires. This could be the problem for the 81.
Now, of course, Glenn Murphy Jr. has to remember, yes, these are fresh tires, but he wants them to last for as long as possible. I think, yes, this caution made everyone really even on tires, except, of course, for the 81 as he took 2 tires most likely to right side, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, 66 laps in, coming on to lap 67 right now, and Josh Susie has led 58 laps tonight, majority of the race. Murphy dives deep, not enough to get to the side of the 81.
Really noticing the 48 is trying to take a different line into the corner, getting air across that nose.
Yeah, you know, he's got a little bit of damage. That hasn't seemed to slow him up much, but I'm wondering if it's affecting him really at all. I wonder if that's even a factor for him. I would imagine a little bit.
He said the car is a bit tight, but it's not really affecting him too much at all. I said that in the interview, so it looks like, I mean, it's just the classic Phoenix in every single race, tightness as the run keeps on going on and on. Of course, his car will get a bit tighter than everyone else's, but other than that, I think it's really working for him. As they go close to side by side again, every single time they get through that dogleg,
Yeah,
I think he'll just take the advantage.
Closer. He's getting really, really close. I think at best to fight that tightness, maybe he can play with his brake bias a little bit. It's not going to offer much relief, but it will at least help a little bit.
It'll definitely help in turn one. The brake bias in turn one will get you to turn through the center, as he's able to get back to the throttle sooner than the 81 was through the turn number one there, and then through turn three here as well. The brake bias will really help you rotate the car.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he got a much better acceleration through the off of one, so this might help him set up for a pass in these next few laps. That 81 car only taking 2 tires is going to fall off a lot quicker than the 48 does. You know, he took 4 tires that last stop, so this might really help him in the long run. Jonathan Schwartz, of course, going to be a factor as well. And you know Jonathan Schwartz, Glenn Murphy Jr., they're a little bit of rivals. Always fun to watch them, though.
Exactly. Just a little bit of rivals for sure. I mean, they're not too bad when it comes to each other. Of course, every single time that it does get heated, and this is something that we also talked about is, well, from last year to even this year, the smart thing is that Glenn Murphy Jr. and even Schwartz, they decided really they're not, yes, they are rivals, but they just race each other as hard as they can and don't necessarily get into each other when they need to, because that has really helped Glenn Murphy Jr. to stay in this battle for a championship.
Yeah, they don't get physical as much as they did last season. That's the big thing. That's the big thing right there. And looking through the field, look at Dalton Baldwin. I'm surprised to see Dalton Baldwin so far back, and really 6 isn't that bad, but Baldwin, again, usually always a top-tier driver. I'm a little surprised to see him outside the top 5.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with, of course, the last caution, where it came, where it fell. And, well, now it's a tough, not as easy to pass here for sure. And I think Dalton Baldwin, let me just look at his car. Yeah, his car looks fine, so I think he's just saving some stuff up for the end of the race.
Yeah, he's one of the few cars on track here that has absolutely no damage, which is really interesting to see. Tyler Meeks having a good run. Matt Hoyle side by side with Michael Tant, trying now to get by Chris Ostrander. Pretty good battle going on here. So Hoyle
Hank Allen, Chris Ostrander, of course, ahead. Going into turn 1, sometimes it is tough to get that car rotated. Just like we said, mess with your brake bias as much as you can for that turn. Can really benefit you. And why I bring that up is just because sometimes you have your car just wants to slide up the racetrack and almost hit that wall kind of at a diamond angle, and so it of course messes up your right front, and that's of course something that you don't want to happen. So we'll see how that plays out with the 3 and even the 73. And look who wants to get involved, Matthew Hoyle.
Yeah, Hoyle trying to get in with the number 3 car. Hank Allen's got a lot of left front damage. I wonder if he got into maybe Chris Ostrander when they were fighting.
laps continue to tick down here, down to about 70 laps to go roughly, and still quite a heated battle up front. Nobody seems to be getting away here. All four of these top four drivers, Joshua Susie, Ben Murphy, Jonathan Schwartz, and Josh Thaxton, all kind of within about a second of each other.
Yeah, these guys, it's not like last time where we saw Susie get away to that 3-second lead or 2-second lead. They're staying right on top of each other like you mentioned. That's really interesting to see. I wonder what changed. But maybe track rubber, maybe a few different conditions. But something obviously clicked, and these guys are no longer able to starting to gap anyone.
48 gets a good run through three each time here, but he's having a problem where he can't power off. He's gonna have to, if he wants to get around the 81, which I'm not sure if he is actually trying to or not. I mean, I would assume that he's trying to, but he's gonna have to find a different way to do it.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Unfortunately, Ron, looks like it's just me and you. It looks like Jacob's power went out. The text he just sent me, so that's unfortunate for Jacob. Cameron Hearn in the YouTube chat asking, what do you have to do to be able to race with them? Them being AMS. Well, you got to go to their website, and I believe there's an application thing on their website. Let me double check that for you, Cameron, as I'm not entirely certain.
And meanwhile, I'm not sure where your cameras are, but something is up with the 48. 48 has given up. Second place has dropped all the way back to fourth place now. I'm not sure if he's made some kind of an adjustment or lost focus or what, but he has dropped off and is now fighting for third place with Josh Thaxton.
Yeah, he looks like he's falling back quite a lot, actually. He might even lose ground to Thaxton.
Yeah, I don't know if the 81 just said see ya to everybody, but in the matter of a couple of laps here, he's almost gotten back to a 1 second lead over second place. I have a feeling that Thaxton can smell blood in the water right now as he is trying everything to get by that number 48 car.
Yeah, Thaxton right now side by side. He needs the spot. Well, he needs 7 of those spots to even tie him. So, but hey, 1 spot will at least help a little bit, you know. Well, 1 spot
Every
will
spot
at least help.
definitely matters.
Every spot helps.
You see the 41 of Dalton Baldwin kind of starting to make his way back up. He hasn't really fallen off, hasn't really gained too much, but he is now in the 5th position. I'm not sure if that's where he was before, but 2.6 seconds back. So we'll see if the 41 was holding anything back.
Interesting to see how it all plays out. Susie, you're still your leader. Murphy third. Thaxton. Well, Thaxton looks like he's still stuck in 4th.
I'm really kind of shocked at what happened. I'm kind of flabbergasted right now. The 48 was right there with the 81, and then just started dropping like a rock for about 2 laps.
Yeah, maybe he just had a bad lap, got a little bit loose. I'm not sure, but looks like whatever it was, he's back on track now.
He is back on track, but he's still losing, and the 18 is hot on his heels. He is haunting him like a bad Halloween costume.
Yep. Well, I mean, the 18, like you said, blood in the water. He knows the 48 had a problem. He's hoping he has that problem again and can capitalize on it, you know?
Keep watching the relative to see what's going on. I don't have my broadcasting stuff up, so I got to watch it as they cross the line each time. Now that both Thaxton and Short Murphy, excuse me, knocked off just a little bit of that gap that the 81 had put down. So 48 maybe coming back to life here.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to gap him a little bit. Whatever it was a momentary lapse on that 48 car. Nothing that seems permanent. Hopefully not permanent for Glenn Murphy Jr., as he obviously does not want to lose any more ground than he's already lost.
Randy Arms sitting back in there in 6th place, starting to creep up on the 5th place car of the 41, Dalton Baldwin. That one's not really a battle yet, but just a car or so separates the two.
Yeah, right now, 92 laps in. Randy Arms back there, 6th, trying to gain ground. But Jonathan Schwartz, as you mentioned, all that stands in the way between Glenn Murphy Jr. and Josh Susie.
Very interested if we get a chance to talk to the 48 car to find out maybe what happened and what caused that little bit of fall off, because it seems like he's just as fast as he was before.
Yeah, at best, maybe he got loose. That's the best I could think of.
I don't think so. I was kind of watching him, and I mean, I could have missed it, but I really don't think so. I kind of wonder if maybe something in real life around him was going on, and he kind of lost focus for a minute or something, and had to take care of something, and lost a little bit of time.
Had a cat on the gas pedal, maybe. Had that one happen to me before.
I've heard stories of things like that happening.
Yeah, I've gotten a cat on, like, my brake pedal and stuff before. My cat comes in my room. That's always a fun one. But whatever it may be, it does not seem to have slowed him down too much, and he seems to be back in the hunt with just nearly 50 laps to go. Race is really starting to wind down now.
Yeah, we're just about 4 laps away from being 2/3 of the way through the race. Jonathan Susie just truly commanding this race. Still about a second gap over second place. The 48 right there with the 58, the 18 within striking distance of the 48. Great battle going on up front. Another great battle just a couple cars back there with the Dalton Baldwin and Randy Arms. It's not very tight, but it's still a good battle. And then 14 kind of running by himself. Joshua Abney, Clay Dilding in that 24 kind of running by himself. Then Chris Ostrander and Tyler Meeks running within about 6 cars of each other.
Yeah, everyone's really, their own little groups are really close together, so this race has been nothing short of exciting, I gotta say.
I definitely saw that damage that you were speaking about on the 3 car earlier, and I didn't notice the left front fender had as much damage as it did, but I noticed that the 3 had some scuffs on it, so not sure how he got it, but you are correct. He definitely got together with someone somewhere along the way.
Yeah, and check this out now. The top 3, well, minus the leaders, so really second, third, and fourth, they're under a blanket. Jacob, what do you think of this now?
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive. I mean, look at this top 5. Yes, of course, you have that top 3, but really Josh Susie has been able to take this race lead and just basically run with it. Now that 3 cars behind him, it's been very impressive. You look at it and just, well, any mistake, any little move, like Glenn Murphy Jr. is trying to maybe make a pass on the outside, and if he had stuck with that move, basically he would have lost the position to none other than Thaxton.
And right now, 100 laps in, we got 50 to go at the mark. And when do you think we see the next pit stop? And do you think it's the final one?
It could probably be the final one. And, I mean, we're looking at...
There goes Thaxton right now.
Close to 50 to go. And
Yep,
yes,
Thaxton
Josh
hits the
Thaxton
pits.
Smart taking an early pit stop. Will this help him? Only time will tell. Of course,
They're
that's
running
something
about
that
a
you kind of have
second.
to do.
Yeah, they're running about a second off the pace. Little second and a half off of what their qualifying time is.
Susie
I know
down.
you're not going to go out there and run that. Oh, no,
Susie
the
had a
81 got sideways.
Yeah, I'm about to say, he just had a big problem.
Now, that is definitely going to cost him if Glenn Murphy Jr. and Jonathan Schwartz both get in cleanly. That is going to be probably a half a second or so to a second at least out on the racetrack. And here comes Jonathan Schwartz. So when and he got a little loose coming. These guys got a lot of rear brake bias in the cars, fellas.
Yeah, a lot of these guys having issues hitting the pits. I wonder if Murphy will be plagued with similar issues. Hopefully, if he's got a live spotter. I don't know if he does or doesn't, but hopefully if he does, he's talking in his ear right now, telling him what's going on and telling him, change your brake bias.
We'll see if he brings it down clean. He gets a little squirrely, but not horrible.
Not as bad as what everyone else has had.
Now, I want to see where Thaxton is on the track. He is out in front of the 81 right now. So because he pitted a little bit early and because of the mistake by the 81, Thaxton has taken over.
This might help Thaxton a lot.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen that before. Just his early pit stops have really benefited him. And of course, yes, we talk about that little wiggle that we saw in pit lane from, well, Susie. And that could have been the difference for sure. But he really does like to take those pit stops early, and we've seen it succeed. One memory from that I can really say helped him was at Indianapolis. And I mean, he was able to take that win just due to the fact, well, he pitted early. I think we've seen that also work for him at road courses as well. And so if you want momentum change, that's exactly what you need to do. Now, of course, he's got to watch out for his tires.
Susie gets that position back, in which will eventually cycle back to the race lead.
I'll tell you what, the 81 has made a move on the 18, put himself back up front. Big loser here, guys, is the 48. Not so many positions, but time-wise, the 48 is almost a straightaway behind the number 81.
And right now, 107 laps in, just under 50 to go. What do you expect to see here in these final 50?
Well, drivers like Glenn Murphy Jr. pushing as hard as they can because, just like you said, he's the straightaway really behind everyone, and that's always going to be a problem. And I think that's something that we'll probably end up seeing in this long run is drivers like him trying to push for that race lead. And, of course, drivers like Dalton Baldwin. Dalton Baldwin, of course, yes, he is in the lead, but I don't believe that he has pitted just yet. So that's another driver that we'll probably see try to push as hard as he can. He's going for kind of broke, hoping that there's going to be a caution most likely. But if that doesn't necessarily happen, he is down pit lane now.
24 down pit lane as well. That's going to cycle the 81 to the front.
Yep. And look who's right behind the 81, though. That's the big development here.
Thaxton had come out in front of the 81. I think the 81 just can drive the track better, maybe has a better feel for the car here. But if the 18 can stay where he's at, he's going to gain a couple points, which is better than losing any points. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here, what develops, and see if Glenn Murphy can track these guys back down. We'll get the official scoring now. Glenn Murphy is 2.7 seconds back from the leader, so we can kind of monitor that throughout the rest of the race here and see if he closes in on the leaders and has a shot to get back to Thaxton and pass him and continue to hold a...
Well, now he'll get a shot at it.
Like I said, that front stretch, if a caution happens, it really does block the
I don't
whole
even know
front
what the
stretch, even if
spin
it's
was.
one car, that was very close.
Who was it?
Matt Hoyle.
Oh, 29 car.
Yeah, all I saw was smoke. I was unable to figure out who it was at first.
Yep,
too.
Hoyle made contact with Jamison Miller right across the front stretch, stopping almost dead at the start-finish line. So dead in the water was the 29 car. Josh Susie, your current race leader.
Oh my goodness! And if you got that replay, you need to play it. He almost took the leaders out.
Oh, no, I did not see that.
Exactly.
He
Almost did.
stopped it on the track and then started taking off after the caution came out and pulled down with, it had to be within inches of the
Oh,
leaders.
man. Well, here's my question for you guys. Well, I'll let Ron get this interview. Who do you want to talk to, Ron?
I'd like to talk to Thaxton.
Thaxton doesn't quite like doing driver interviews, but it is almost the end of the season, so at the risk of getting punched in the face, well, he's far away from here, so he can't do that.
Says he's on.
Thaxton, have you got a copy on us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, Ron, take it away.
Okay, well, it looks like you've made your bed now. Looks like everybody else pitted. Not everybody, but quite a few of the cars have pitted. Looks like you're staying out. Is this what's going to get you back in the hunt for the championship?
Well, I hope so. I hope we go like probably 10, 15 laps and have another caution because I was good on fuel there, and we've had 2 stupid cautions that, we should never had.
Copy. Did notice that you were right there on the heels of Joshua. You had come out in front of him during the pit cycle. He was able to get around you, but you were staying with him. Has that car improved? Has the track improved? Have you made adjustments inside the car that has allowed you to do that? Or is that just a product of it's getting close? We're still quite a ways out from the end, but were you pushing harder or have you been able to make some adjustments?
I put some rear brake into it, and it seems like it's helped a lot. And it just seems like I've got more laps and on the track, or the track's just gotten better, because it just seems like I've been able to get down on the turn 1 a lot better and roll it and come up off. But I was on 2 tires on the last run, and it was really nice. But we had like 10 laps on our left sides.
Well, that's good information for us because we had seen a couple guys take 2 left side tires and we thought maybe that might hurt, but coming from you, so about 10 laps or so, it benefits. So that's great information for us to know up in the booth. Not going to keep you much longer. What do you think your chances are here if you go green to the end?
I don't know. I just hope that my dirty air is going to mess them all up behind me. That's what I hope for anyway.
All right, well, best of luck to you and hope to talk to you here at the end of the race.
I see you guys.
All right, and that was Josh Thaxton. You were in American Motorsports, correct?
Yes.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out here. We'll let Jacob get the green. 115 out of 150 down.
All right, here we go. Pace car motorway from going down on the racetrack, just in turns 3 now. Josh Thaxton going to lead them to green, so that's always exciting. Clay Deldine on his outside. There we go, pace car down. All up to Josh Thaxton now, and we are back racing here at Phoenix.
Wow, the 18 jumps out to a huge lead off the start.
That's exactly what he needed.
Getting bottled up behind him. Oh, the 58 into the wall.
Contact into the wall with the 58.
41 in it to win it right now, stuffing it down into 3, down on the bottom, getting underneath the number 18. 18 going to carry some momentum on the outside. 41's going to tuck in behind him. There's the 81 car now in 3rd position. Ducks down to the inside going into 1. '18 being pushed on by the 41. A little bit of contact between the 81 and the 41. 3 wide.
Thaxton's still your leader, though. Glenn Murphy Jr. watching this 48 car, 5th place, trying to slide his way up the field. He's not making much headway, though, is he?
There is a lot of contact going on out there right now between a
gaggle
lot
of
of cars.
Well, we're down to the final about 30 laps of this race coming up. These guys are all desperate to win. That pit cone just got taken out in all this action. Glenn Murphy Jr. up to third now.
Thaxton got a little bit wide there.
Exactly, a huge play there. Basically, he went 3 wide, kind of near the dog leg on that last lap, and that's where he was able to make the positions up. And look at Josh Thaxton about to lose a couple more positions as Glenn Murphy Jr. looks like he was clear for a second.
Thaxton plan almost came to fruition. There was a lot of contact out there on the speedway, and unfortunately it is not working in his favor now, as he has fallen all the way back to 4th place and he's stuck on the outside. Doesn't look like the tires want to hold. He's got to get out of the throttle a little bit. That's going to push him back into the 5th place, with 6th and 7th knocking on the door, almost 3 wide.
119 laps in, coming to 123 wide. For a moment, look at Jonathan Thaxton. Schwartz, rather. I meant to say Josh Thaxton. I say Jonathan Thaxton, my mistake. But look at Schwartz, just trying his best to get by the 18 and the 8 as well.
Exactly, a huge move there. The 8 car just going to clear him by the nose. That's very exciting there.
I cannot fault the 18 for trying to think outside the box and do something unconventional. Unfortunately, the 18 is going to pay for it severely.
Yeah.
He is now dropped to 7th place.
He might lose a lot of points going into next week. This could potentially end his championship hopes here tonight.
What? How many races are left?
Homestead. Next week's it.
If things do not change with roughly a 20-car field, if Thaxton falls much further, Glenn Murphy Jr. can pretty much just kind of literally just go out for a Sunday drive at Homestead next week and put this one in the bag.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire, but that wire might be here tonight, not next week. And that would be unfortunate for the 18 team. We know how much Thaxton wants this championship. He's worked very hard for it, but he's really got to start picking things up, like what Ron just said.
I'll tell you, the guy who doesn't care what Thaxton is doing is the 48, because the 48 is driving hard. He is putting pressure on that number 81 as they come out of turn 3 going down the front stretch right now. Look for him to duck to the inside of the 81.
124 laps in now out of 150. Susie's still your leader. Murphy not yet in the lead. If Murphy leads this race, that could spell disaster for the 18 team.
Looking, and Thaxton's under fire right now from the number 14 of Joshua Abney and Michael Tant. They're both right there. That's 2 more potential positions and points that he could lose. No matter what Glenn Murphy Jr. does here, Thaxton could not afford to lose another position on the track.
And right now, just a handful of laps to go. The question is, who's your pick to win it? I got to go with Josh Susie. He's led 103 laps tonight.
I don't know if we're done with cautions, and I don't know that Glenn Murphy is going to settle for 2nd place, and I don't even know if that'd be my pick, because if we have another caution, I'm seeing something change throughout the night. Randy Arms has not been running up towards the front, but here he is a-coming, boys.
Yeah, Randy Arms now. I did not even notice that. He's up to 3rd. How about that for that number 18? What a run!
And that's something pretty interesting, too. Randy Arms doing a fantastic job. Now, if there is one caution, I know who would be loving life at that moment, and that is, of course, none other than Thaxton. Yes, Thaxton stayed out. That's been the key right there.
He needs a yellow badly.
I think the biggest benefit from a yellow right now would be the 8 of Randy Arms. He is a little bit faster, but not fast enough to get to those guys and get around them in time. By the time he does get to them, he probably won't have the tires left. So if he gets a caution now, that puts him right there with a pretty equal chance. Thaxton, it would save. I don't really think it's going to do anything for him except for save him from falling further and further back.
And right now, 129 laps in out of 150.
Randy Arms may have figured something out. That was only about a half of a second there, but he's still cutting down that lead. Now the big question will be what happens when he gets close enough to start getting an aero push.
And 20 laps to go now. Glenn Murphy Jr. only a tenth off of the 81 team. Does he get the lead, or do we get another caution like what we saw last time? That's the million-dollar question. What's your guys' bet on that one?
I think we go green. I think it finishes under green here. I don't think we have a caution.
Yeah. Well, here's a good question. Since iRacing's in a bit of a time capsule, we still have the old Phoniex configuration compared to what they run in real life with the start-finish line on the old back straightaway. What is your guys' opinion? You like the old Phoniex configuration or the new Phoniex configuration?
I mean, I think I love both. Now, which one do I like more? Well, I haven't tried out the new configuration yet. So the new configuration, I'd say it is pretty awesome, but, well, I can't really say anything. I think the restarts, especially when we get the new one, will be even crazier than the restarts that we have here now. So I think that's the difference that it will really have, is we'll go 3-4 wide on restarts, and it might create even more chaos than we have on regular Phoenix, which is the old one.
So in other words, next year it'll be really, really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
At least the 2 times we travel to Phoenix.
Exactly. We still travel to Phoenix 2 times, and I believe this is true that Phoenix will be the final race.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, you've heard the drivers from this year in real life, how they feel about the final race of next year being in Phoenix.
I mean, I think that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's good, but the way that we saw for also this race in real life, I think we'll see something like that where the leader will just be able to take off in clean air.
Yeah, well, look at Glenn Murphy Jr. You mentioned the leader taking off. Murphy's been able to stick with the leader, but look at Thaxton. He's all the way back to 8th. I mean, I don't want to say he's out of it for the championship because, hey, anything can still happen at Homestead. But, man, is he really going to make it hard for himself next week.
2 cars down pit road smoking.
Yep. I saw the smoke. I didn't see the drivers.
Hank Allen and...
Oh, man. Oh, Hank Allen is mad at Tyler Meeks. He tried for a shot at him. He didn't quite get it. We're going to get an instant replay of what happened here. I'm amazed that wasn't a yellow. Hank Allen was on the inside. Hank Allen tried to take out Tyler Meeks.
Wow, that was pretty crazy.
If you see the replay there, Ron, he was gunning for him.
Yeah, I saw it. I think we probably should just move on back to our leaders and talk about that instead. That was pretty crazy.
I'd like to get a word in with that 3 team, if he's willing to talk. Hank Allen, have you got a moment?
Yeah, I do.
Well, we just saw that incident occur between you and that 35 team. Well, what can you tell us?
It's been coming for a while. Couldn't have happened to a better person. He's raced like a jackass the entire season, and he's not going to finish another race. I'll tell you that much. He's going to get wrecked at Homestead.
All right. Well, how was that 3-team handling? And, I mean, did anything happen to you guys tonight? I mean, I didn't really notice anything, but...
Yeah. My car was terrible, and after the first caution, he got behind me on the restart, and I was running my line, and he decides to try to dump me. So I got back into him going into one, and then it just kind of escalated from there. But after the Roval, I told a couple people that it was coming to get ready for it, and there it is. It's going to happen again, too.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, and, well, we'll see you at Homestead.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, you'll see me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Hank Allen, driver of that number 3 Chevrolet Camaro. Obviously, a little bit frustrated with the 35 team of Tyler Meeks. And, well, Tyler, if you're watching this, you might want to stay away from that 3-car at Homestead.
Interesting development out here on the track. The number 48 seems to be quite a bit faster, but cannot get around the 81. They were side by side.
They had it for a second.
About a lap ago, but the 48 hunting all around, trying to find a way to get around that 81. Meanwhile, this has actually also brought the number 8 car of Randy Arms in closer. So the battle is not over as we watch it out here on the track. Honorable mention, Josh Thaxton back sitting in 8th position right now.
Yeah, Thaxton doing his best to get as many spots as he can. But yeah, Glenn Murphy Jr., I saw him get the lead for a second while we were talking to Hank Allen, and then he kind of lost it.
Just can't hold that inside line. You know, the outside line can control the inside line. If the 48 was able to roll the throttle the way that he wanted to out of 3 during that exchange, I think that he probably would have been able to, you know, clear him and actually go and run away. But the dirty air is just going to more than likely keep the 48 behind the 81 unless the 48 decides he's going to use the bumper.
Well, we've seen one driver do it tonight. Maybe we see another. Hopefully not. 5 laps to go.
This could be fun, though. If Glenn Murphy Jr. were to use the bumper, it would probably be on the last lap if he were to get close enough to him. And yes, of course, the track is wide enough for you to try to go side by side, but just kind of nudge him out of the way. You know, kind of Haley Deegan style.
Oh,
Here we go. Here he
go.
goes. He's trying to do the full slide job. Still can't get there. Can't do it.
No, he cannot.
And the 81's going to carry the momentum on the outside.
Randy Arms is just watching there in 3rd, just kind of waiting for something to happen and pick up the lead. Randy's just kind of there like, okay, you boys have at it, and when you wreck, I'll just take the spot.
The 48 has figured something out in 3.
He's going to dive it in. He's going to use a little bit of the white line.
Push it.
Push. No push. 3 more times around. He's got 3 more shots at it. I'm telling you, the last lap, I got a feeling he's just going to go in deep, and we're going to see. Oh, man.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. No.
Josh Abney, Thaxton, and Tyler Meeks.
Oh, no.
So what happened here? Tyler Meeks was in the middle of these guys. He bumped Thaxton, got into Thaxton, which got into Abney. So it was a 3-car spin and a little bit aggressive driving by the 35 team.
Oh, man. Whoa, wow. I'm seeing the replay. Thaxton is in deep doo-doo here. He is upside down on pit road. He's going to have to tow. That could potentially put him
no higher than 12th.
More than likely no higher than 12. Could be even worse.
I think he'll finish 13th because Clayton Collins is on track and he'll probably get a lap on him.
Going back live here. Let's see. Pitting. Are they pitting? You guys think they're pitting?
For 2-lap shootout, I don't think so.
Oh man, sitting duck. I think you're sitting duck. Somebody's gonna stay out. I don't think it'll be the leaders, and if it is the leaders, I'm gonna be surprised. We'll see. There might be they're all in so far.
Yeah, no stragglers. Clayton Collins elects to stay out.
Yes,
well,
there you go.
He's 2 laps out. He's 2 laps down.
Oh, darn it.
All the lead lap cars pit.
Anybody going to take 2 tires?
That'll be the next question.
All right, I got my focus on Randy Arms.
It's going to be something big, but this could have potentially been the nail in the coffin for Josh Thaxton's championship hopes. Baldwin slid his box. He wasn't really in the top 3, but
48 car, 2 tires in a way, not enough.
He'll still
Hopefully
be second.
he didn't get caught in speed. Oh, wow, the 58, even though he slid in his, or came in behind the number 8. I'm not sure if the 8 took 4 there or if he just had a bad pit stop. I'm going to back it up here and see because he seemed like he would have been out sooner.
All the leaders took 2 tires. Bad pit stop for the 8, though.
Yep, I'm just seeing that now.
But, yeah, so Josh Susie, 2 tires. Glenn Murphy Jr., also a 2-tire stop. So it won't hurt Glenn Murphy Jr. to take 2 tires, but it won't benefit him either.
Man, I did not want to see that caution. I wanted to see if Glenn Murphy Jr. could have done it under green flag conditions. He kept getting that run into 3, and I don't know if he would have moved him for the win or not, but I do believe that we probably would have seen him either just totally go in and pull like some kind of slide job, or he was going to tag the back of the 81.
Yeah, that is for sure. I was about to say we'll talk to Tyler Meeks and get his perspective on what happened with the 3. Although Tyler Meeks is not in TeamSpeak, unfortunately, so I unfortunately won't be able to get his perspective. Tyler, if you're watching, we'd like to have you in TeamSpeak so we could get a word in. But, yeah, so...
A lot of chatter on the radio right now, guys. Hearing a lot of chatter about that last wreck. Unfortunately, yeah, Josh Thaxton is in big trouble here. He's being shown in 13th position. More than likely, that is exactly where he's going to finish because he can't, Tyler Meeks is 8 laps down unless we have a few green-white checkers and Tyler Meeks. No, he was removed from the server, so disregard that. Josh Thaxton more than likely comes home in 13th position. Glenn Murphy Jr., honestly, all he's got to do is finish in probably 2nd place and almost seals the deal. So this is it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this. How would you guys approach this if you're the 48 and right now you basically have a 17-point lead going into Homestead?
Just going full send, really. You want that win. No
exactly. One spot is not going to stop it's not going to stop Glenn Murphy from trying to win.
But the question is, do you chance it? That's my question. Do you just settle for what you can get, or do you go all out as we cross the line here and the 81 gets away, 58 gets underneath the 48. This is going to take the 48's chance away. This is going to be on the 58 here.
Not a lot of racing left here. Glenn Murphy Jr. trying what he can, coming to the white flag.
On the low line, once again, that's really been where he hasn't necessarily been able to push as much as possible. He's just about to be passed for 4th.
Jamison Miller crashed in the back. This is the final lap of the race, presented by Over the Top Paints and Designs. Josh Susie's going to lead, I think, 132 laps here and go to victory lane. Glenn Murphy Jr. falls to 4th. Josh Susie wins the race. Jonathan Short 2nd, Glenn Murphy Jr. 4th, Baldwin 3rd.
Definitely the finish the 81 was hoping for.
Randy
Definitely
Arms.
Not the finish the 48 was looking for.
Randy Arms, Clay Dildine, Chris Ostrander, Michael Tant, Scott Sanders, Josh Abney, Jamison Miller, Clinton Collins, Josh Thaxton, Tyler Meeks, Hank Allen 15th, and Matt Hoyle 16th. Kevin Trzynski, Andrew Fesden, and Joe Green will round out your field here tonight. And, of course, the victory celebration goes to the race winner, sponsored by Over the Top Paints and Designs. That, of course, Josh Susie. What a finish for that 81 team. we will let Jacob Young talk to our race winner and what a win it was for that 81 machine.
All right, Joshua Susie, how you doing?
Dude, freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, so you win this race at Phoenix, of course, and seems like you're topping off this 2019 season with a big bang.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. It's especially these type of performances, they don't come easy. The level of competition we have in here, and you got Glenn hounding you for the last 40 laps of the race. Nothing about that was easy at all. I honestly lost the race when we had that caution with like 48 to go or 40 to go or whatever, and I ended up coming out 5th. Just had to muscle up and get it done.
So you led close to about 130 plus laps. How does that feel?
That's great. But as awesome it is, it's kind of I take a little bit of pinch of salt because this package it's really hard to pass. I mean, I'll take credit for it. I didn't make too many mistakes, and I was able to make it count when I needed to. But if I'd have slipped up once or twice, oh boy, Glenn would have definitely had me.
For sure. So how'd that car feel throughout the runs?
It's pretty good. You started off really neutral, and it got a little snug, but as long as you just let it roll and do its thing, it wasn't bad. It never really got loose, and you could take 2 tires, and as long as you paid attention to the exit of the corner and didn't have too crazy of a line, you'd be all right.
So take us through right before that final caution. Take us through how you were able to really defend and keep your lead from Glenn Murphy Jr. there.
It was not easy, man. I had to defend the top. If he got to my outside, I was done. It was so, like I said, so hard to pass here. He was doing everything he could do. He was trying to set me up going through the dogleg, get a really good run, and pop to my outside coming out of the dogleg going into 3. But I just had to make him use his dive bombs, and he started tearing up his right front, wearing it out, so he started downshifting. And there was a couple of close calls where I wasn't sure if I was going to get the run back on exit, but the main focus was protect the top, don't let him get above you.
All right. Anyone that you'd like to thank, sponsors, that sort of thing?
Yeah, you guys, as always, broadcasting. Randy and all the admins, Hank, Chris, whoever else is an admin. National Guard, Army. Big shout out to all the veterans, especially as a fellow veteran. I was glad I was able to bring this home. That was definitely an extra incentive. My buddy Nate watching the race, appreciate it. You know, and anyone else that came here and watched, I hope we put on a good show, and Epstein didn't kill himself.
All right. Well, thank you.
I mean, fair enough. Well, Jonathan Schwartz up next. And we'll get Jonathan Schwartz up here with Ronald Klein. Take it away, Ron.
Jonathan Schwartz, Ron Klein up in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, kind of an up and down night. Saw you kind of up and down throughout the field. Talk to us about that last caution and what that did for you.
Well, that changed my whole race for sure. The car was pretty tight all night. I'm sure Lucy said the same thing, but yeah, that restart was everything for us to get up to second, and happy Susie got the win.
So for the fans out there that don't get the experience of driving in one of these cars, did you guys experience a lot of, in addition to the car being tight just naturally because of the setups and whatnot, were you guys experience any aero push, getting tighter as you got closer to the car in front of you, or was that not an issue tonight?
Oh, definitely. Anytime you get within a tenth or two of the guy in front of you, you're gonna push up on the exit of the corners. That's just how this package is this year. So you just gotta find a way to work around it. The dogleg helps a lot. And here at Phoenix 3 and 4, if you get to the outside, you can pretty much complete a pass fairly easily. So other than the package, making the cars really tight to drive, the race overall went pretty well.
Anything that you found throughout the race? I kind of spoke with a couple drivers, or we spoke with a couple of drivers in between cautions and whatnot, and talked about adjustments inside the car, brake brake bias and things like that. Did you find yourself messing with brake bias to get the car to turn?
Not too much tonight. I keep my brake bias set pretty low, so I prefer a car that enters the corner looser and tighter on exit. So not too much tonight, but other tracks, mile and a half, maybe a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Well, we appreciate the technical information. On to the other side, got any sponsors, fans, or any shout outs that you'd like to give before we let you go?
Like Cortland for sponsoring my car. They do a great job for me in business that we run, so that's pretty cool. And thank you guys for broadcasting every week for us, and Anarchy Motorsports Series for putting on a great show every week.
All right. Well, we thank you for your time. Congratulations on a well-deserved second place, coming out there and giving it your all right there at the last few laps. We really appreciate it, and thanks for putting on a great show.
Thank you.
All right, and last up on the interview block here tonight, it'll be Dalton Baldwin, who we have not talked to. Well, Dalton, it feels like a lifetime since I've last talked to you. Glad to have talked to you again. How you doing, man?
Hey, bud, how's it going? Yeah, it's been a while.
It's doing great. It's doing great. Man, glad to see you back in the top 3. I wish I would have seen you in Victory Lane. That would have been awesome. But how'd that car handle for you tonight?
Yeah, wish I could have got the win. Being not that since I don't run too many races, but I just don't like this track. I absolutely despise this racetrack. But seem to always manage to at least run in the top 5 and sneak a decent finish, and kind of got lucky. Had a couple shots, and had a decent little shot there at the end, and managed to drive up to 3rd. So that was a lot of fun. And racing with Glenn and Randy and them again is a whole lot of fun. I'm really glad I got to do some side by side racing with them, and maybe next year I'll be around a lot more. Be able to have a lot more fun races with them. So
maybe get to see you run for a championship. That would be fun.
That would be nice. We'll see. It'll be dependent on a lot of different variables, but I definitely would love to be able to come back. Just got to figure a few things out.
Well, are you happy with the finish here tonight? That's the big question, since this is, of course, one of the few races you've been able to do this season. You happy to walk away in 3rd?
I think out of all the races I did, this is the only one I actually finished. So
I don't have the stat sheet up right now, so I can't confirm or deny that.
I do know I had a few bad races in the ones that I did do. So it was definitely nice to get a 3rd, get a clean finish. Not have any incidents with anybody or get caught up in anything, and it was just a lot of fun, and I'm really happy with it. I'm as much as I hate this track, I am happy to get a 3rd place here and race with these guys again.
All right, well, and you want to thank sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, always a shout out to Children's Dream Racer. We got them as the primary sponsor of the league, so they're awesome. They're my primary sponsor. We like to put them up there and give them as much recognition as they can get. If anyone wants to help out and donate to the cause, definitely. I always tell them to check it out and do what you can. The F Cancer Foundation is a really good one. Best Friends Animal Society's really cool. Aflac, BG Products, Advanced Auto Parts. They're all great companies, and definitely have supported me a lot throughout the years. So appreciate all them. Appreciate the league and the admins for always doing a bang up job, and you guys for your broadcast.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, man. Great job on the finish, and can't wait to see you again next year.
Yep, thanks, man.
All right, folks, and from all of us at the American Sim Network, after a crazy race in the desert, man, I don't think any of us were expecting to see some of the stuff we saw tonight, but we'll see you next week at Homestead, and likely we'll see Glenn Murphy Jr. Wrap up this championship with a nice little bow. So we'll see you then, folks. Have a great one.